Good afternoon, everyone. We'll just wait for another minute or so, but then I'm going to kick off on our webinar this afternoon on social media and the importance of consistency. So if you are going to be a little bit late tuning in, don't worry about it at all. We'll be sharing the recording of this on our own social media. Practicing what we preach. We'll be shooting that out, the link to that on our social channels tomorrow. So if you are a little bit late in joining us, don't worry about that at all. We've got a little bit to get through today, so I think I will just ease into it. So welcome. Just real quickly for everyone, some important messages around liability and the general use of our information. So if you just wanted to have a quick read of that one. All right, so kicking off with a little bit about me. Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria Cole. I'm the marketing manager at Vincents. Very proud to be a part of Vincents. Great team that we've got here. So myself, I've got over 10 years of experience in professional services marketing, and that's a lot that's involved in that. Events, sponsorships and partnerships, social media, which I'll be speaking to you about today, graphic design, some digital and lead generation, brand communication and health, campaign management, internal and external public relations, and more. Lots of fun things. Great team to be a part of. I come from a journalism background as well as marketing, so of all those bits and pieces, I enjoy the written word a lot, and I love theming things, and I also enjoy a good pun. Storytelling is definitely my passion, and I try and bring that through in everything that we do for marketing at Vincents here. I'm a strong believer that there is definite human emotion that's hiding behind everything in business. You just have to find it and reveal the magic. So if you're keen on, if you've missed anything from today's presentation, if you've got a burning question, please feel free to reach out to me on the details below or shoot the events team a link. So briefly today, we're going to go through quite a few things. So I'm going to basically touch on the importance of consistency. I'm going to, in true Victoria fashion, I will wrap everything up in a nice fable and theme it because I do enjoy that. I feel that that's more memorable. It's going to stay with someone afterwards. I'm relating the importance of consistency in social media to a popular Aesop fable. So I'm then going to go through and explain briefly a number of different strategies that I feel are really important in being able to maintain successful social media. They include getting on top of that strategy and mission, wrapping that around a good brand identity, really making it yours for your business, the importance of thought leadership, and educating versus selling your target market. Then we're really getting into the content balance. So I'm making sure that you've got lots of variety with that content and some tips and tricks with that. Then going through a content calendar, being able to plug all that together and really being able to be proactive as opposed to reactive with your social media. And then most important thing in social media and all marketing in my mind is never letting it set and forget. Importance of reporting and metrics on continued improvement. So slow and steady wins the race. Now, anyone that's involved in social media and in business marketing is, they're playing a long game. It's a slow burn. The goal of any business marketing initiative is always to increase sales. But when it comes to social media, it's a long process to sort of grow your company's follower base. It can feel time consuming. It can feel like you're getting nowhere. And embarking on this sort of a thing, it's very important to not lose sight if you feel like you're not getting that visibility and the comfort of seeing those results straight away. Don't lose sight. In such a fast-paced digital age, it's not surprising there are so many strategies out there. There are courses, tips, tricks, all sorts of literature out there to support you when looking to piece together a strategy that's right for you and for your company. If, however, there was one piece of advice, and I'm big on giving one thing for people to think about, just one word that I want you to go away from today with, and it would be this word: consistency. So never underestimate the importance of consistency in social media and for a lot of digital marketing for that matter. So there's a little picture of my tortoise and my hare. So the relevance of that I'll quickly loop you in on. So Aesop's Tortoise and the Hare. I like to think of consistency in social media as having a tortoise mindset when it comes to the slow burn. Many would be aware of the age-old Aesop fable about the tortoise and the hare. A speedy hare, who often bragged about how fast he could run, was challenged to a race by a slow and steady tortoise. Inconsistency was the hare's downfall. He raced too quickly at the start. He paused to rest for too long after getting ahead and ultimately ended up missing the mark when the good old tortoise slow and steadily crossed the finish line using a consistent pace that never faltered. So how's that work for social media and winning the race? Well, for the most part, the results that you are after with organic, and to be clear, I'm not focusing on any paid lead generation today. I'm just purely focusing on organically growing social media. But the results with organic social media growth, they rarely come quickly. As I said, slow burn, everyone's favorite set of words. But when they do, those results are very rewarding and they effectively do win the race, like the slow and steady turtle. This has a lot to do with that continued experience over time that a social media follower has with a company. It's a lot like dating in a way. And the fact that an audience's perception of a company, which again is gained over time, is their reality. What they see is what they feel. Advocates and advocacy, such an important part of social media. So successful social media continually delivers content that works to share a company's story and really gives off a warm perception. Again, it's a little bit like dating, you're wanting them to feel comfortable, wanting them to get to know you. And it helps the audience to better understand that company on a human and cultural level. It's storytelling, which again is something that I'm all about. So the storytelling builds the trust and it empowers that audience to become advocates for that company's brand and their mission. And the best part about advocacy is that that's an audience that's won as a result of a non-intrusive, long endgame relationship that's built over social media. And it means that this sort of audience, an audience of advocates, are the best sort of audience that you'll ever come across. They're those ones that are loyal and enduring. They'll always be there. They're great to rely on for testimonials. So now I've explained the method to my madness with the fable. I'm going to continue the analogy a little bit and look at some tortoise tools. So the one thing, the inconsistency, in my humble opinion, that's the king. Consistency is undoubtedly the most important thing when it comes to successful social media. But if simply agreeing with that one thing was all that it took for everyone to be killing it online, then, I wouldn't need to be here explaining things and offering some help where I can, and everyone would be doing it straight away. So where do you start? Today, I'd like to go through what I like to refer to as Tortoise Tools, which are a few strategies, and by no means are these the only strategies out there, but these are ones that I've felt in my experience have helped me, help grow our following on Vincents and helped other businesses that I've worked with. So these strategies are not an exhaustive list, but they're a key list that really, I believe, give you the power to change the narrative and tell a story for your business, build those relationships again with those key advocates, and then ultimately let your brand and your people shine out there, which is, that's what it's all about. So here are my tortoise tools that we'll be going through: your strategy and mission, your brand identity, thought leadership, content, so content balance, and then a calendar, and that all important reporting for continuous improvement, so looking at metrics. So let's crack off with strategy and mission. So what is it that you would like to achieve on social media? What is important to your business? As I mentioned at the start of this presentation, obviously the goal of most businesses is to grow the business and to get leads and to make money. But you really need to dig deeper into the what and the why here. That's essential before going on and applying the other strategies. You really need to be looking at the why. So the why really is defining your objective. your mission statement. So it could be one of these following as examples. It could be something else. So you could be looking to celebrate your company, looking at your culture and your values, what's really, part of the culture of being a part of the company. You could be wanting simply to drive customer traffic to your website and really work on generating those leads. Growing a personal brand, you might be looking to really profile experts within the business as opposed to the actual business. And never discount that, because people always do business with people as much as the business, if not more, because people trust people. You might be looking to kick off a big recruitment campaign and really look at social media to help bolster those recruitment initiatives as you enter a recruitment season. For many businesses. Could be something else. They're just some to get you thinking about it. And all of these mean taking a slightly different approach when it comes to your social media strategy. You'd embrace different tactics, and all are actually measured differently when it comes to reporting on how successful they've been. For example, driving traffic would be successful based on click-throughs as opposed to how many likes or the engagement that you're getting with your followers. So it's really important to consider that carefully when looking at how successful and what you measure success as when it comes to your social media. More on the metrics later, though. So once you've got that mission, what you're looking to do, it helps to wrap it into a statement and to refer back to that statement a lot. And there's a very easy 3-step process to create a social media mission statement, and for that matter, a business or a digital company mission statement. So it's easy. You basically explain what you'll be sharing, who it's for, and why they'll care. And that's extremely important, why they'll care, because that will go into the longevity of the audience and them becoming advocates for you. So then if you wrap A, B, and C together, it forms a statement. Our business is where B, the who it's for, finds A, the what you'll be sharing, and for what they'll care about. So that's a very, very easy way to wrap everything before you kick off on everything. So here's a few examples. So magazine, a place where entrepreneurs and business owners find useful information, advice, insights, resource, and inspiration for running and growing their businesses. So simple ABC. Photography school, delivering simple tips to help digital camera owners get the most out of their cameras. And you can see how it's clearly got the 3 bits in it. With Vincents, as an example, we've got 2 statements. We've got one that's based a lot on thought leadership and expertise, which we incorporate as part of our social media strategy. And this also forms our overall company mission, so not just social media. So you can see that one there. Our mission is to work with our stakeholders to deliver comprehensive insights into complex situations and enable them to take control of decisions and get the best possible results. And we have one that's based on the heart of our brand, values, culture, and encompasses our social media strategy as well. We want to give you an insight into the Vincents backyard, our services, who we are, what we do, and what it's like to work in our firm. So there's some examples there. So wrapping your brand identity into that mission statement is equally important as the mission statement itself. So you need to make that mission statement yours and that social media strategy yours. People need to immediately think of your company around everything that you're saying. So people, everyone's extremely busy with actually doing the business. And often it's, takes a little bit of stepping back to think about what you actually want or think your company is perceived by audiences online. Do you have a humorous tone? Are you quite serious with what you do out there? Are you thought leaders? Are you asking a lot of questions and getting people thinking about things? Are you motivating? A lot of quotes, a lot of calls to action. Are you subtle with your messaging? Do you get people going away? I guess that ties into the thought-provoking things. Are you blunt with your messages? Because often that has a lot of impact as well. For all of this, you should be looking to your company's name, your mission, your logo, your tagline if your company's got one, and your brand identity, style guide if your company's got one, your company core values that all your staff live and breathe by, and the real history and foundations, the story behind why you're in business, how this business came about. That's all something that, again, goes into that raw human emotion that's behind everything in business and that people respond to and are warm towards. And that's how you get those advocates, as I've mentioned before. They're all very important. So have a bit of a brainstorm once you've got that mission together and have a think about how that mission can be translated into your social media, embracing that mission, your style guide, your colors, sayings, taglines, your real company story, all of that. See how that can all be wrapped into that mission statement and the activity that you'll be doing on social media to help form that emotional connection with the audience. So we'll use Vincents as a case study again. Hopefully you know, if not all of you might be following us online and some of these would not be a surprise to you. But we've incorporated a lot of what I've just said into what we do online. So we've got a number of company values at Vincents that go to the real core of who we are, and we often reference these values when we are posting. For example, we're involved in many community and charity endeavours, and that is one of our core values that is extremely important to us. So we like to share that, and that just ties back to who we are. And so it really gives Vincents a human element out there online, as much as you can be online. We also reference our tagline often, which is gain insight, take control. We reference our style guide, so that's all of our colors, our imagery, our the sorts of pictures that we use, and the fonts. That's all very consistent. So again, going back to being consistent over time, that creates something that's memorable. People are used to seeing that, so they'll get to know that as distinctly Vincents. We also reference our identity. So our backyard is a very Vincents backyard identity, both in the way that we are. We like to demonstrate how much fun we have at work. We like to work hard and play hard. We don't like to take ourselves too seriously. But we also use our backyard in reference to that being very much something that, step into our backyard. It's our area of expertise. You're safe here. We'll be able to help you. All that sort of stuff feeds into the messages that we're putting through online. Remember, there is no right or wrong way for your business as long as it's a consistent one. So consistency is absolutely key here. Thought leadership. So let's have a bit of a look at that. Very, very important to remember to educate, not to sell. So huge difference between the two, and huge difference in how it's perceived online and the sort of following that you will get off that. So it's imperative that you do remember to educate, not sell, to your audience, and that will remind them why they follow you in the first place. Have a real think about the why, because that should tie back to why you're doing what you're doing and what's in that mission statement that you'd put together. Is it because you're the first to know about a topic? Do you offer expert advice? Are you a workplace that provides standout graduate career journeys? Ask all of these whys and make sure that it's all tying in with your overarching mission online. Now, whatever your why may be, ensure that your audience is consistently receiving unique insights in balance with your other sorts of content. So if you're going back to Vincents, if your mission is to get clients to understand unique insights, but also get to know Vincents as a family, as a group of individuals to trust, it's a lot more than just educating them on topics. It's about balancing in that with other content and having a variety. So we'll get to the variety soon. But thought leadership is very important to us at Vincents and to a lot of businesses online, because it helps establish us as experts in our field, and we want to be able to share that value with everyone. So when it comes to creating expert content, you often will have more than one expert in your business that contributes to that thought leadership. So everyone has slightly different writing styles. I've found that it's very helpful to create some article guidelines around how material should look, and follow the same sort of formula when it goes online, because again, that's a consistent formula, and consistency, as you know, is key in my mind. So that particular sort of content will follow a similar formula and will have a clear call to action at the end. The call to action, again, is very important for engagement with your audience. Remember to be careful not to phrase things in terms of what you can offer or what your company does, but rather how you can help solve a pain point or challenge for your audience. So your ultimate focus should always be to provide users with value and to gain that trust over time. Content balance. All right. So I spoke before about there being all different sorts of content. So variety is the spice of life. Remember that. And it's, as much as people love content, like all things in life, it is all about balance. And social media is no different. And social media is, exactly as the name suggests, it's all about being social online. So you're working to really bridge that gap between you and the audience, any perceived gap that might exist between them getting to really know you and trust you and do business with you. All of this is designed to help with that. So the more social that you are, the more time you'll get from your follower base, and ultimately the more you'll look to grow that follower base. It therefore stands to reason that if the only content you're trying to push out is very clearly selling something, then that narrative does tend to become all about the business as opposed to the audience. So you do need to find a variety of content to keep things interesting. But I don't have time. You say, look, I get it. Coming up with content is hard enough, right? Now I'm telling you that you've got to have different sorts as well. Victoria, stop. It's too much. Trust me when I say that it is worth doing the planning on this one, because not all content has to actually be thought leadership via an article, and not all content takes a lot of time. It really doesn't. Some content will be a lot less onerous than you may think, and all of it contributes to a really well-rounded social media performance each month to really keep those engagement levels high. So what content am I talking about specifically? The sky is the limit, really, and there are new sorts of content that are trending on social media all the time. But here are just a few examples of how you can break up as a business the sorts of content that you're putting out there. So you might be able to profile staff within your business. You could get that into a regular series. You could use alliteration to make particular days of the week memorable. So you might be able to have Motivation Monday, for example. Photos, lots and lots of photos, because it bridges that gap between the audience and you as a business, and it's showing that human element. So that's incredibly important. Can't stress enough. And photos do always, they get shared as well, which increases your reach, which goes into metrics, which I will talk about a little bit later today. Quotes or messages made into a graphic. So if you don't have pictures on hand to support something, and you've got a couple of messages within a longer article that you really want to get across, or you're low on content and you've got one article that's got a list of 10 things in it, beef that up and use some of those list items to create content that's a picture, which will jump out at someone, but it's a picture of a quote. You might want to do a day in the life and profile different sections of your company, different office locations, different levels of staff, different positions. A big focus on health and well-being, that is important to everyone, and something that really gains a lot of support online. Community endeavors, as I said, we do that a lot at Vincents, like to share that. A lot of businesses place a big importance on charity, and would tie into a lot of companies' mission statements. So really important to show that aspect, because again, it's that human element, shows that you care and builds trust. Awards are a great thing to demonstrate and to share the love there, both for employees and for the business. Testimonials from clients, and again, you might be able to get some testimonials from advocates at the end of a successful social media campaign over a long time. They're the best sorts of testimonials to get. Videos and podcasts, the options are endless, but it's very, very important to do a little bit of everything and to mix things up, to give your audience that variety they're really after, with a consistent brand coming through all of them. So across all of those things, the common element needs to be the voice of your company. So a case study, because that always helps put things in perspective a little bit. So let's say your business is a new puppy preschool. Your social media strategy could be to feature the following variety of content if your mission is to raise awareness. You could profile new class members each week. You could value add advice each week around tips and tricks to teach your puppy. You might be able to profile the actual weeks in advance, what's coming, what's on the class. There might be some special promotions that you could share for those that are enrolled. Could share some graduation photos, and then you can have even some alumni videos or reunion material. They're just a couple of ideas in a business context for a case study there. So content calendar. So now you've got that balance, having a look at the calendar. Let's recap. You've got your strategy and your mission sorted. You're then working to deliver that mission with your brand and company's identity and personality at the forefront of your mind. You're being careful to educate, not sell, because it's all about that value add. And you've got a great selection of different sorts of content that you'd like to push out. Good to go? Almost. It's very important to create a calendar and to stick to it. It's a way to be certain that your social media is going to start and stay consistent. And it's not going to take a lot to set this up. So whether it's a once a week or a once a day commitment that you're making to that social media, make that ongoing commitment and plot it out for months ahead. There will be room to add in those posts that are reactive to a one-off moment or event that unfolds quickly. Those are all extra bonuses in my mind when it comes to your plan. It's all about getting the roots in, making sure that across a month you're being proactive enough with the staples. So that variety of content that you've got that's relating back to your mission statement and incorporating your brand identity. Mapping it out in a way that uses all of those things to maximize the engagement from your audience. So get savvy with these things. So like everything out there online, there are a number of tools to make your life easier, and I'm a fan of relying on them when you can. So where possible, write all the copy that you can in advance, and then use some softwares and templates out there to make your life easier. So Trello, there are many of them out there, but Trello is a great one, a cloud-based workflow program that we use for plotting out calendars, for example. That's a great place to just record everything over the coming months, and you can loop in other team members if you've got team members to help you out with it, and that helps hold everyone accountable. Canva is another great resource to rely on when it comes to making sure that when you're plotting things out, that all the image sizes for your different things that you've got planned are sized perfectly for the different social media mediums. So Canva is brilliant. Both of those couldn't recommend highly enough. So theming and times. Creating themes around your different varieties of content it's a great idea. Have a look, as I said earlier, the times of the week you might plot them in. You can rely on some theming and some consistency around that name of the sort of content that you're putting out. So I've used the example of a gym. Perhaps every Monday you could release a bio on a member that's showing progress. So again, it's that human element, and could be continually pumped out under the heading Motivation Monday. So people will get to know that every Monday there's a Motivation Monday coming out. So they'll look forward to it, is the key. There are also lots of resources out there that offer advice around the best times of week to post different content. So when you're plugging it all out in the calendar, for me personally, I find that the start of the week is better for thought leadership and sort of your more serious content, and that the end is better for culture and photos and events. But this is absolutely not an exact science, different for everyone. Find what works for you over time and then adjust your calendar to suit. And adjust it to suit if you're getting more recurring content as you're really building and finding your rhythm, and continually have a look at what's working and what's not by examining metrics. So I will get to metrics in a second. Fit for purpose. So as you're creating your calendar and your social media, it's also incredibly important to look to pick the right social media platforms for your strategy, or your continued strategy, or your review and new strategy. So at a glance, there's lots written about all of these platforms, but I'm just doing a bit of a helicopter view here. Facebook, I think personality is king there. So it's one of those more casual platforms, but where a brand can really showcase its personality as well as expertise. Instagram, images are king here. So it's very much a visual platform dominated by witty hashtags and comments. So with Instagram, your business needs to be able to visually show a lot of what it does. So you need to review whether Instagram is the right platform for you with what you have to show. LinkedIn. So the king here is definitely content. It's a more professional platform where thought leadership and discussion is in absolute abundance. So perfect for thought leadership there. Twitter, hashtags are king. So it's a succinct platform where users send and read short messages that are referred to as tweets. So a lot of resources out there, as I said, to give you more insight into each of those social media platforms. Too much to be able to squeeze into today, but so you can choose the one that are fit for you, the ones that are fit for your mission. Really have a look at what each of them, the sort of platform that they are versus what your business can do. Tailoring, if you're using more than one of them, tailoring that content for each of those platforms is key, a lot for some. And that requires spending a little bit extra time. Once you've got that content ready, it's then tweaking it for the different mediums. For example, pushing out a teaser for an article on LinkedIn, which has a lot more characters that you can fit in, versus Twitter, where it's very succinct. So just taking that little bit of extra time to make sure that the content's fit for purpose there for the different platforms. Absolutely worth it. And it's all about quality over quantity as well. So that to me, that applies to both the number of posts or content that you're pumping out, but also the number of platforms that you're using as part of your social media strategy. So you don't have to be everything to everyone. If one of those platforms fits your business the best, it's a good idea to just start on a strategy that's centered around that social media platform only. And then you can grow it from there. And speaking of purpose, don't forget to repurpose. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I really want to emphasize that this is a great hack for social media. Remember that amazing article that your expert wrote at the beginning of the year that performed really well? Well, why not think of other ways that you can use that same content? So couldn't emphasize this more. Work smarter, not harder. Your experts will love you for it. Your people in your business that you're wanting the support from to help get that stuff out on social media, they will be so much happier if there are so many ways that you can use that content to get bang for their buck. So it's great for buy-in. And a simple expert article, for example, going back to that, can also become a webinar that you share an invite to on that article. It could become a recording of social media later in the year. It can also be a series of short videos that you create from it. It could be a series of hints that I mentioned earlier, could go out as graphics or quotes. could also become an infographic or even the subject of a podcast if you're feeling particularly ambitious to start down a podcast route. We just started that with Vincents, and we're growing our audience already, and really, really getting a lot out of that. So the possibilities are endless. And as I said, if you're working with regular contributors, repurposing is great for their continued buy-in. Metrics, very, very important. So you've done it. You've embarked on a new chapter with a social media strategy that's set to change the narrative for your business, build relationships, and ultimately let your brand and people shine. It has been said more than once today. Sorry if I have said it a lot, but social media is a long game, and it's so important for people not to lose heart there. It absolutely is a long game. You even have your slow and steady Tortoise Tools that I've themed up and have shared with you now that can help you along the way with pumping through that long game. But just because it is a long game, that doesn't mean that you can't keep constant tabs on what is unfolding each month or week for that matter. It depends how frequently you want to check in. But again, the word consistent, the one thing, consistently improve to make sure that long game is that little bit less long for you. And being able to consistently improve cannot be done without consistently looking at the metrics. We're talking about reporting here. So what should you be tracking? There are so many metrics out there for all platforms. However, the metrics that matter the most to you need to be those ones that help you determine how that mission's being met through social media. So these metrics should even be able to show you which of the different sorts of content that you're using are effective in meeting that mission. For example, if you're looking to drive awareness through publishing, how many impressions? And impressions are the total number of people that see your content. How many impressions are you driving? If you're looking to build a community, if that is part of your mission, how many people do your posts engage? So engage meaning they prompt shares, likes, or comments on average. All metrics have meaning. It's about interpreting what that metric tells you and then translating that back to your mission and your business goals, what your objective is. So making sure that they're all on board and they're working together. Work as much or as little as you need to or want to. So when it comes to metrics, every social media platform has its own native analytics section for you to dive into and collate into a format that best suits your needs. So not keen on doing too much legwork? There are also plenty of social media analytics tools out there that at a price can save you time on manually creating reports and pulling together the different platform data. So just wanted to leave you with our little tortoise from the start of the webinar, and the message of it's not who starts, but who perseveres that gets across the line first. So there's our little tortoise who's almost there at the end of his social media journey. So thank you for listening to me today. As said, I'm proud to be part of a big team at Vincents. We cover a lot of issues here, basically anything to do with numbers. Please keep us in mind. Our business advisory, assurance and risk advisory, corporate advisory, financial advisory, forensic services. We've got our detectives with the numbers working there, insolvency and reconstruction. If you're facing difficult times, they're here to help you with that. Even our lending solutions business, the most recent addition to sort of close the circle with everything numbers at Vincents. I couldn't sing higher praises of everyone there. So if you've got any sort of burning question, please feel free to reach out and I can pass you through to any of our experts that can help you out there. So thank you very much for bearing with me today. I hope I've helped you out a little bit if anyone is looking to start their social media journey. As I said, if you missed out today, if you came in late, if you're looking to have a look at some of what I've already explained today, we'll be pushing out this tomorrow. We're actually using one of my strategies. We have a webinar Wednesday, and on webinar Wednesday is when all of our recordings of our webinars get pumped out on social media. So there's a little final tip from me to you, the power of alliteration. It's memorable. So again, thank you everyone, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.